For latest updates and short audio clips, follow us on Instagram, Reading the Author.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast Reading the Author, a unique show where we read authors' mind and not their book. Meanwhile, I truly believe and pray that you and your families are completely safe and healthy as well. Guys, today we have Jiel Narvekar ma'am with us, and she's the author of Melancholy Maybe. Thank you so much ma'am for coming on our show. I'm highly grateful कि आप हमारे शो पर आए.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure to be on this podcast.
Likewise, ma'am. So, ma'am, like before we get into the podcast and know much more about your book, about your journey and everything, I would request you to please share about yourself so that our listeners can know much more about you. And do let us know how you started this writing journey.
Just to give you a little bit of background about myself. So I'm actually an HR professional, and I've been into the corporate world for almost 17 years. Through my interaction, I meet a lot of people across different geographies, different cultures, and day in, day out, it's meeting and interacting with a lot of people. I'm also a coach and a facilitator. So by virtue of those two roles as well, I interact with a lot of people, and that's something which I'm very passionate about. Writing has been something which has been a hobby. It started off as a hobby, right from my school days to my college days. I've kept writing, but somewhere I felt I wanted the world to know what I wrote about, what I'm writing about, and that's how the entire idea of the book developed.
Okay. So, ma'am, like when it comes to talking from a new reader's perspective, like after listening to this podcast, many people will just love to, read this book, explore this book. So, what a new reader can expect from this book? Can you share some insights?
So the whole idea of coming up with this book was to romanticize what people generally call as mundane. So I, including me, I always had this feeling that, if you have to write a book, if you have to write your thoughts, you should be in a creative space. You maybe should go to the hills, be alone and be able to do that. But that's really possible, being in the professional world. I'm also a mom to two kids, who are quite young. So it's challenging to find that time. So I thought, why not just look at the everyday experiences and be able to put that more beautifully across, so that we value each and every moment that we have, whether it is let's not wait for that perfect moment. Let's make the moment perfect that we have. That was the idea.
Okay. And ma'am, like as we have talked about the perspective of a new reader, now coming back to the person who have already read this book, so what they can expect from you as of now? Like, is there anything in the pipeline? You want to experiment a bit on other genres too, or you want to stick to these only? What's upcoming?
So I actually have quite an interest in writing a book which is non-fiction, which is more for my personal experience about coping with, as I said, the multiple roles that I face or that women face, and basically a little bit of background on how to deal with it. So that has been something that I've started with, and of course the poetry writing journey began. I'm also looking at exploring something in non-fiction, but lots of thoughts in the head, but waiting for some of them to materialize.
Okay, so definitely there's a lot of things which people can expect from you as of now, right? Because
yes,
दो चीजें तो है ही अभी फिलहाल में.
Yeah.
Okay. So, ma'am, like, what I personally feel that, most of the authors are working towards making their name as a brand. Like, they want to be known, they want to be remembered as a certain genre या फिर certain type of author. So when it comes to you, let's say आज से 1-2 साल बाद आपने 2-3 बुक्स लिख ली है and फिर आपने कोई बुक रिलीज की, तो कोई देखता है कि ठीक है, इट्स अ न्यू बुक बाय जेएल मैम. सो उस रीडर के माइंड में, जिसने ऑलरेडी आपकी बुक पढ़ी, उसके माइंड में क्या थॉट आना चाहिए? उस एक सडन थॉट जो स्ट्राइक करता है, ठीक है मैम की बुक में मुझे ये मिलेगा, ये ऐसा पढ़ने को होगा, ये मुझे ये चीजें सीखने को मिलेंगी, इस टाइप से कभी सोचा इस बारे में?
I did think about it. I have thought about it. What genre I want to fit into.
Hmm.
Right now, I think it's too early to start. I'm also experimenting.
Ah.
I'm actually more of a non-fiction story writer. I've written a lot of short stories, novel concepts, but as I said, it's still in the works.
Hmm.
And at the same time, there is this passion of writing something in non-fiction on personal experiences, and then I've also delved into poetry.
Hmm.
I think I would, broadly like to put it. I think it should have a great story, fiction or non-fiction. It should have a great story, and I want to be known as somebody who could be able to, be able to have the most simplest of things, be able to. Maybe make it describe it in such a beautiful way, weave it in such a beautiful way with a little bit of humor. I think that's what I would kind of like to be slotted into, whether it is my poetry, whether it is fiction, non-fiction,
Hmm.
whichever way, a great story with these concepts in it.
Hmm. 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 Okay, okay, okay. So definitely, ma'am, what I personally feel that, if very early we just decide and go through कि मैं इस type से लिखूंगा, इस type से, इस genre में मैं fit होऊंगा, and maybe that is something which we can't deliver with the authenticity that people demand. So that is something,
Hmm.
वो चीज भी कहीं ना कहीं lag हो जाती है, what I feel.
True, yeah.
Okay. So as of now, what's your current writing schedule, ma'am? Do you particularly devote some hours every day to your writing, or it's like random कि कभी कोई thought आया तो phone में डायरी में लिख लिया, बाद में बैठ के उसे elaborate कर रहे हैं? How does it feel?
I think more the second style. It
Hmm.
was more about writing on my phone because, as I said, it's little like most of the people. I'm also pressed for time. So the easiest way is, when I'm traveling or there's a thought, I just put it in my notes and then I start reflecting about it.
Hmm.
I do like to write, maybe early morning hours when it's uninterrupted, or late night if time permits.
Hmm.
So that's typically when I write. And if not on my phone, if it's something more long drawn, then yes, it's just typing away on the laptop.
Hmm. Okay, okay, okay. Ma'am, like we are in this industry for more than 8 years as of now. And what I have personally
Mm-hmm.
seen that after the first lockdown was over, now, the numbers of author got increased very rapidly. There was a boom in this
True,
industry.
yes.
So when it
Hmm.
comes to you, as you have, completed this whole journey, you have published your book. So according to you, how hard it has become to make your book stand out in the market as of now?
I think yes, pre-COVID, post-COVID, both have its challenges, and everybody is online these days. So, every other person that you come across says that I have written some book at some point of time or the other. So yes, it's sometimes a little challenging. And also, yeah, the kind of book doesn't resonate with everybody because people's attention span is also less.
Ah.
So yeah, I think maybe we need to do a better marketing.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
It is
Okay.
challenging, yes.
Hmm, hmm. Okay, okay. So as of now, like we have talked about your book, about your journey, about your upcoming projects and everything. Now let's get back to your personal life. There must be a lot of moment which you tag as the happiest moment of my life. So if you can share any one of them with us, then that would be really great.
I think many. I'm quite blessed to have a
Ah.
very fulfilling, life. As I said
Hmm,
again,
hmm,
both
hmm,
personally and professionally.
hmm,
Of course, time spent with my children is always, it can be quite chaotic, but it
hmm,
leaves me with a very warm feeling, and it's also inspiration to do a lot of things. A
hmm,
good reflection to talk about different aspects of life.
hmm,
And yes, as I said, I love meeting people, and I think that has the reason why I have been drawn to the career in human resources.
hmm,
So as a coach, when I talk to people, when I see that they have been able to find a solution to
hmm,
what they were looking at, or they are walking towards that solution, it
hmm,
gives me immense pleasure because I feel I was able to be part of their success journey. I was able to guide them into that direction. And
hmm,
these moments also, when I talk to different people, they have served as inspirations to write.
hmm, hmm, hmm. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
There's a question, ma'am, which I'm just very curious to ask. Like, ऐसा तो है नहीं कि आपने आज सोचा और कल आपने बुक लिखना शुरू कर दिया, राइट? There must be a
Hmm.
full thought process कि ठीक है अभी लिखना है लिखना है लिखना है. So what exactly was that one moment जिसने आपको ऐसे मोटिवेट किया, ऐसे इंस्पायर किया कि नहीं अब तो मुझे बुक लिखी देनी है, बिकॉज काफी टाइम के बाद आपने ये सारी चीजें शुरू की. So what was that thing?
I think there are certain times when there are moments in life when you feel definitely that it's high time you do this. I would say it's almost 20 years that I've been thinking that I should write a book, to be very honest. Right from the time I was in college, and I was always thinking, yeah, when there's a perfect moment, when there's a perfect moment. So last year, as I was I'm a person who always puts my goals for the year in the beginning of the year. What have I done? What am I doing? So as I was reflecting, I was just thinking, I wish I could have written my book. I wish I had time. I wish I had this. I wish I had that. And I thought to myself that, wish karke, there's never going to be a perfect moment. So why don't I, take up a challenge? Let me see how much I can write. Let me see what I can do. And that was a trigger. And as I started writing, I felt more confident. I wrote a couple of poems. Then I thought, why not more? Why not more? And that's how I got pushing myself. And some of them were already, had been written in the past. It's just that I had to rework on it. But that gave me a good start, and it was almost towards the end of the year that this was happening, like the last quarter of the year. So I said, let's take a target and let's try to close it in 2023. So that was a good target, and I think that gave me a lot of personal satisfaction that if I put my mind to it, I can definitely get it churned out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as a person, as a author, what are the things which you are focusing upon in life as of now?
I think as an author, I really want to look at what is interesting to people to read, because the reading genres also have changed so much over time. Definitely people like classics, people like reading, but as I said, the attention span is less to keep captivating people. So I always try to understand what is it that can get people hooked. You should have good content, but what kind of content, what kind of stories would be relevant today? Maybe even if I'm writing it today, let's say, next 50 years down the line, will it still be relevant to read then? So these are some of the thoughts that keep me going.
Okay. Now let's get back to the time, ma'am, like when you heard कि okay, tomorrow your book will be live. Everybody will be able to buy it, judge it, because often writers ऐसा माना जाता है कि जो वो सोचते हैं वही वो लिखते हैं, right? So everybody will be able to judge you on the basis of what you have written, all the negative criticism and everything will be there. So on that particular eve, एक दिन पहले उस शाम को, what was going on your mind? Like आप excited थे, relaxed थे, you just marked up some milestones कि okay, ठीक है, these many people know me, my book has to be sold out these many copies. What was going on your mind at that time?
Honestly, I was very excited because it was when I saw the layout, when I held the book the first time in my hand. It was a completely out of this world experience, because I never thought that I will see this happening so quickly. And it was just that conviction enough that if you really put your heart to it and mind to it, it will happen. So yes, it was very surreal. I did not have any expectations that it should reach X number of people or target audience. I think for me the biggest thing was to put it out there. So whatever happens later, it's more an outcome. But I just wanted to prove to my own self that I can get this going. I can get this book out, and let's see how it goes.
Okay, definitely, ma'am.
Yeah.
So my next question to you of this podcast is, ma'am, like after reading, like when it comes to like people often just judge you on what you have written, and many people will be there who just don't like what you have written. So when it comes to talking about those constructive criticism, what people usually say, so do they ever bother you?
Yes, I think I'm human too. So criticism will somewhere affect you. Thankfully, till now, whatever I've heard about the book, I think people have been very kind and generous. They have, shared positive things.
Mm-hmm.
Many people have, actually spoken about certain poems that resonated with them day to day. So yeah, it's thankfully not been harsh, but I think, yeah, there could be moments where it could not appeal to somebody, or there may be people who I thought would say something, but they have not said anything at all. So yeah, that at times feels that, okay, I wish maybe more people would say something positive, but I think I'm just trying to be balanced about the whole thing, because there's obviously going to be people who like it, who don't like it so much. Everybody has their opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
And ma'am, probably my last question to this podcast is like, after listening to this podcast, many people will just love to start writing, or they must be holding their first draft in their hand, in the laptop, in their diary. So what would be your advice for those upcoming authors?
I think just, few words, just do it. That's what I would say. Because we overthink sometimes, way too much. That should I put it out there? There's so much of anxiety in our own minds. But if you go out there and you just, put yourself to it, put a target and get that book out there, you will feel so much more confident, and you learn every time, through each and every experience. I think you only keep getting better. So that's what, there's no better teacher than actually doing, what's to be done.
Definitely, ma'am. Okay, so that's all for today, guys. I hope you must have enjoyed this lovely and inspiring conversation with Jiel Narvekar, ma'am. And if you do, then do follow our podcast, Reading the Author, available on all the leading podcast platforms. And don't forget to buy and read the book. आप just Amazon पे जाएं, वहाँ पे सर्च करें मेलंकली, मे भी बुक आ जाएगी. जरूर खरीदें, पढ़ें और अपने जानने वाले चाहने वालों से जरूर शेयर करें. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming on our show. It was my honor to be able to host you today.
Thank you so much. The pleasure is mine. And really happy to be on this show.
Thank you.